Well, hello, experts, and welcome to another Beautytap Talks. We are always excited to bring amazing luminaries on to learn different aspects of the beauty industry. Some of you are estheticians, some of you work in medical grade dermatology offices, some of you are just the beauty lovers from retail and around the country. We are so excited to partner with these luminaries to just learn next level knowledge and things that may just teach you something new or just tantalize that beauty loving brain of yours. Today, we are graced with the amazing presence of an amazing dermatologist and master of many skills that I can't wait to hear from. Today's focus of conversation is all around new technologies, new products, and procedures within her office. So please, use that chat function to ask questions. We'll hit at the very end open Q&A. Keep those questions detailed, but pinpoint accurate to be on one subject so we can get the right answer to you. I will also open up hand raising option in Zoom. So if you want to come on stage to speak to our amazing luminary and give a question there, we can do that at the end. Everybody, please have fun, take notes, learn, use the chat function, keep yourselves on mute, and we will dive into your deep questions a little later on. But before we introduce our guest today, let's introduce another amazing guest and leader in the Beautytap community, and that's our editor-in-chief, Elycia Rubin. Hi, Elycia, how are you doing today?
Hi, Johnny. Thank you for your warm welcome. And hi, everybody in the Beautytap community. We're so happy to have you here. And so very honored to have Dr. Ava Shamban here with us. She is one of the most revered dermatologists in the world. And to have even 10 minutes with her is a treat. So we're going to cover a lot, like Johnny said, and then Q&As at the end. I'm going to just get right into it because we know how busy doctors are. Dr. Ava, thank you so much for being here. And I just want to let everyone know just a tiny bit of background. Dr. Ava Shamban, a Harvard graduate, hello, an author and host of The Gist, a TV show that everybody needs to watch because you'll get even more of this information that we're talking about today. She was one of the regulars on Extreme Makeover. She's one of the most in-demand, most knowledgeable, most sought-after dermatologists, like I said, in the world. So again, this is quite an honor and a treat. Thank you, Dr. Ava, for being with us today.
Well, I'm so delighted to be here and to share all these great new things that I've just learned about since I've just been lecturing and attending different meetings. And it's just, I just want to applaud you so much for being able to bring so much of this information to so many people who are interested and can learn about what's hot and new and what works and what doesn't work.
Thank you. And yes, Dr. Ava, we know you're on the cutting edge of all the new technologies and you do the clinical trials. You know about what's coming out before any of us ever do, even before other doctors know what's coming out. So we want to talk about first some of the new anti-aging procedures that you're doing in your office. Now, for those of you here, Dr. Ava has clinics in Los Angeles. Her doctor's office, she has one in Santa Monica. She has Ava MD at the Century City Mall in Los Angeles, which is the destination, the mall of malls. And then she has another clinic in Beverly Hills. And then you have one in the Palisades as well, correct?
Right. So the Santa Monica and the Beverly Hills offices are full medical and cosmetic. And then the two kind of offshoots, the Skin Fives, that's the one that's in the Century City, Westfield Mall, and also in Pacific Palisades. And there we offer just a series of non-invasive treatments designed for prejuvenation, juvenation, and rejuvenation. So,
and then at the clinics, you can get a little bit more intense. But everything for anti-aging, for staying, looking healthy and youthful, Dr. Ava knows it all. So yes, let's start off with what is new. I wanted to talk about Softwave, something that I experienced not too long ago. And it's very buzzy and it was very tolerable. I did it in one of the medical clinics and was really happy with the results and would love to hear from you about this new technology, what it does and what we can expect from it.
Okay, so the whole field of tissue tightening is really fascinating. And the way it really began was when people had red birthmarks, port wine stain, it's typically on just half of the face. And so what they found when they were treating with the lasers to get rid of the birthmark, they found that the skin looked tighter and the fine lines and wrinkles really almost disappeared just on that side of the face. And so the question is, well, why did that happen? So it turned out it really had to do with the heating of the skin. So then over the years, how you heat the skin, how hot does it have to get? How many treatments do you need? How long does it have to be hot? Has evolved. So that's where you end up with a technology like Softwave. And so the technology that Softwave uses to heat the skin is called microfocused ultrasound. And so the way it works is to get tissue tightening, you need to have more collagen and more elastin. So the collagen bundles are like little logs, like a little log cabin. And so the way these are held together is with a certain kind of bond called a hydrogen bond. When you heat that, they kind of fall, they lose that bond and they shrink up. So you get an instant tightening. But now the body sees the damaged collagen, so it goes in, makes new collagen, new youthful collagen, new elastin. So that's why over time, following a treatment with Softwave, you start to see some dramatic tightening. And what we've seen over the years with all these tissue tightening devices is just better technology, better understanding of how it works. And so there you have Softwave. So that's how that's been developed. So yeah, it's one of my new favorites for sure.
And ULTHERAPhy is another treatment in this realm, correct?
Yeah, so ULTHERAPhy is also micro-focused ultrasound. So the same kind of technology. It's delivered a little bit differently. So the heat can go to different levels. And it's a little bit more of a fry situation. And it does work. It's just a little bit more painful. But that's why we like the Softwave. You do 2 passes and then some vectors, and you saw some results, right? I mean, you look pretty gorgeous anyway, but
thank you. That means a lot coming from you. Part of it is, yes, and staying out of the sun, which we'll get to later. But I will say from experience, and the company had actually reached out to me. My colleague does PR, and I was lucky enough to do it with Dr. Ava. It was pretty tolerable. It got a little bit hot at times, but the second it started feeling too hot, it subsided. So, and I think it was about 30 minutes for 2 passes. So it's just amazing that if you start doing these treatments at the right time, that it is very preventative, and you're not having to cut into your body with these treatments. And that's what's so nice today, is that we have all these options that are not scary.
Yeah, so what's really exciting about this technology, and I think that the millennials and the Gen Zs have it right. You have to approach like all these procedures that we now have available to us in terms of tissue tightening, improving even the musculature. You have to approach it like the same way that we keep our bodies fit. So in a way, it's kind of a fitness program for your skin. And you should start earlier. As I said, the way the millennials and the Gen Zs are, you should start earlier. You don't want to create a crazy looking bizarre version of yourself, but to just keep stimulating the skin is definitely beneficial.
The name of the game is building collagen, and that happens through damage. We damage these machines are damaging our skin, which then triggers the body to create collagen. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's a controlled injury. So you don't want to, you don't want to shred yourself or something, except I guess if you're developing muscle, but you don't want to destroy the skin. But all of the different types of lasers, and these are microfocused ultrasound, or the radio frequency microneedling, all of them are controlled injury to the skin, which then the skin sees the injury and then it repairs it like it would any wound. And yes, then you get this nice, plump, juicy collagen. So it's very exciting.
How many treatments of Softwave what do you recommend per year on average? And is it something you can do a series of once a year?
So you only need 2. Because what happens is you have, as I said, you have that initial shrinkage of the collagen, and then for the laydown of the new collagen, that takes place over a period of 6 to 12 months. So depending on the person, if it's someone like yourself, where you might have like the teeniest bit of laxity, you just need 1 treatment a year. Other people who need to have a little bit more action, shall we say, They need one treatment, then in the next month, a second treatment, and then probably once a year. But you need like 2 treatments for sure.
So 1 or 2 a year, that's very manageable. You know, it's so nice to have options, because years ago, to look a little bit younger, all you could do is go under the knife. And I love that there's so many of these treatments coming out today that are all preventative, and that you even with the SOFWAVE, you see something when you leave, but it's this gradual over time, which is so interesting, that 3 months later, 4 months later, 5 months later, we have to have delayed gratification. But I have noticed, and I've noticed with friends of mine that's done ULTHERAPY, several months later, you see the improvement continues.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a question that just came in about the neck. Yes, we do the neck, we do the face, we want to lift everything up. So you have to combine it with treatments, because especially in an older population, and when I say that, that's really, I mean, I hate to say that 40 is old, but you know, just a little bit more. The platysma muscle, which is here on the neck, it actually comes up onto the face and can pull the face down. So you have to relax that muscle with one of the neuromodulators. So Botox, Dysport, Jeuveau, Xeomin. And so that would be injected right along the jawline, because the muscle comes right here, or just right in the upper neck here, and then on the bands, so-called turkey bands here. There they are. So you want to relax that before you have, I mean, there's different, it's not just like, okay, I'm going to come in and have a treatment, but yeah, I mean, people can try it. I mean, it's also, it doesn't matter what color skin you have, what your ethnicity is, it's appropriate. It's an outstanding treatment. So this has been one of the new technologies. It's very exciting, I think.
So SOFWAVE you're loving, and this is one that's getting booked up left and right. Again, it's tolerable. Price point wise, I mean, none of these treatments are, well, I guess they're affordable if you space the payments out over time, but they're certainly more affordable than surgery, much more affordable than surgery. What's the range of one treatment?
I think I don't know. I never know. I'm not the bank here.
We'll follow up with the team.
Yeah, you can follow up. Yeah, you can post that on the website. Yeah, what it is.
Tell us what else. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was about to go into something else that's super exciting. So remember that all of these, the original for tissue tightening, the original observation was that you had to heat the skin. So you can heat the skin through this micro-focused ultrasound. You can also heat it through radio frequency. So we do a lot of tissue tightening off of the face and neck with radio frequency. So the devices we have are the M-Tone, which goes with the M-Sculpt, or the M-Sculpt Neo, and then also the Morpheus, that is radio frequency with microneedling. So it's called microneedling radio frequency. And so that we use a lot for body contouring. But moving to another technology that's a different category that's new and really exciting. And I went to the American Society of Laser Medicine meeting, which was in San Diego. And this machine is called the Ultimate Contour. And it's also ultrasound, but it's long-wave ultrasound. And it is the new fat removal device. And it's so exciting because using this type of it's just ultrasound. And so they worked on this for years with an engineer to figure out exactly how long was that wavelength. But it is amazing what you can see after a single treatment. And so it's a brand new machine. So and it has the FDA clearances for reduction in waist circumference, and the pictures are incredible. And so I'm waiting. The machine should be here later today. I can't wait to hop into it. But one of my colleagues has it, so she got an early model, and I'm just very excited about that. That'll be a game changer in the fat removal.
We're hopping in it with you, Dr. Ava.
Yeah. Because I think that, there are obviously 2 existing technologies for fat removal. There's the cryolipolysis, using cold to freeze the fat. And that's good. I mean, that you can use, for the so-called double chin. You can use it bra fat. You can use it on the stomach. You can use it on love handles. There's all kinds of places you can use that. But this could be really wonderful because you don't have to chill anything down. You don't have to sit there, like clamped on.
Cool sculpting has been one of the popular cryo ones, right? Because I see billboards everywhere for cool sculpting.
Yes, it absolutely works. And they've also updated that device too, so that it has the applicators fit better. It's a shorter treatment time. You still will need two treatments to get to where you are, depending on how much fat you have. But we have cool sculpting in 3 locations. So yeah, some cool sculpting. But I'm very excited to see this ultimate contour with the
ultimate
ultrasound.
Contour, M-Sculpt, and cool sculpting. Now with this new ultimate contour, say you're doing tummy, depending on how much is there, on average, how many sessions do you need of this?
Well, so if you're pretty athletic and you don't have much of a tummy, you just need 1. Mm-hmm. If you're on the other end of the spectrum, if you've got a pretty big tummy, it actually looks pretty promising, but you might need as many as 5 sessions. So you can kind of gauge. You can look at your tummy and say, okay, well, how much fat is there, and and then figure out. I mean, the cool sculpting also was limited by how much fat you did have, because some people were considered to be a little too heavy for the machine. But I don't think this one, we'll see. Let's see. I haven't gotten the machine, but I'm very excited. But someone asked, how long does cool sculpting last? So all of these fat removal devices, whether you're freezing the fat or whether you're heating the fat, and in this case, you're literally using ultrasound to pop the fat open, you're destroying it. Those fat cells, they are gone. They're picked up by your lymphatics. They're put into your GI tract. They're gone. The problem is that if you gain weight, the fat that's in the surrounding areas will get big. And so it's not, it's not necessarily, you gotta maintain your weight.
I would assume too, with these, do you need to drink a lot of water afterwards? Is that part of the protocol?
You do.
Okay. Flushing the system. Okay. Could you hurt someone with too much ultrasound technology? I'm assuming anybody could get hurt with too much of anything, but I'll let you weigh in on that.
Yeah, the answer is yes. You have to go to someone who's experienced, who's educated, who's trained. It's not something that people learn in their training, whether they're a registered nurse or whether they're depending on the state you're in, in some states, estheticians can do these treatments. It is not something that's part of traditional training. I mean, I think it probably should be and should be added, but this field is so new. So these are things that you have to learn after your training. And so you just have to make sure that the person has been trained, has experience, has before and afters, and they're not showing someone else's before and afters. So
yeah, that's a good reminder for anyone here. Please, and we've done stories on this, please do your due diligence when you're looking for a provider. Really do a deep dive into them, into reviews of their business, making sure that, especially if it's a medical procedure, one that would be done at like Dr. Ava's medical offices, that you're going to a doctor or a physician's assistant or nurse practitioner. Was that correct, Dr. Ava?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I work with the nurse practitioners and the physician's assistants, but they've all been with me for a long time, or if they're new, they've come in, they've been trained. I have someone new in Century City, and she came from one of the most prestigious laser practices in the country, from Tina Ulster in Washington, D.C. So yeah, you have to make sure people know what they're doing.
Yeah. Any of these quick fixes or these things that you see online for, half off, those are all kind of buyer beware.
Right. You don't want to get one of these treatments with a Groupon. You do not, if you're saving money on buying, toilet paper or hand towels or something, that's great, but not when you're dealing with your face, because you make a mistake that can be years to correct it, if even.
Quick question on recovery time for these fat melting body contouring procedures.
So the recovery, so for the cool sculpting, you can be a little swollen and a little sore for, I'd say, up to a week. For Ulthera, it's just a little uncomfortable that night. I don't think the Ulthera and the Softwave, maybe just a little bit of warmth, a little bit of discomfort, nothing that a couple of Tylenol or a couple of Advil wouldn't take care of. And for the Ultimate Contour, same thing, just a little sore, not the kind of swelling you would see following full sculpting.
And having done Softwave, everybody, I walked out of there, I felt fine. I mean, my skin was a little warm, but nothing that was really noticeable. I mean, it was truly just, seamless. I have never tried any of these body contouring treatments, and I'm not speaking from experience, but the Softwave was, pretty easy breezy.
Yeah.
As far as the what's new in the injectable world, and now we're talking about the Botox style injections, and then also fillers. Anything new in this realm that we should be aware of?
Yes. So in terms of the neuromodulators, or the, also known as the wrinkle relaxers. So the first generation of those would be Botox, Xeomin, Dysport. So those are kind of the three original ones. And then the next one that came in was the Jeuveau, which I really like as well. It's a little bit cleaner technology. So those, but even so, those are kind of like, 1.0. And so and Jeuveau would be like 1.5. So now what's coming in the 2.0 is the next one that looks like it's going to be approved is the Daxi. And so Daxi, so I've done clinical trials with every single one of these. So I've seen how they work. So Daxi, they're hoping for a label that's 6 months. And from, in my observation was that it had a longer effect. Now, it has been shown that if you increase the number of units and you just make it more concentrated for Botox, actually for any of them, then you can see a longer effect. But then it becomes a price problem because it can be like double the price if you're using double the amount of units. So the Daxi does last longer. And so we'll see, what the label is that comes out from the FDA, and it's hopefully looks like it's going to get its approval in September. So that'll be the next one up. There's also an injectable neuromodulator that's coming from Galderma, and that also looks good in terms of having a little bit longer effect. Because I think that we all like the way it looks, but we don't like that it wears off after three months, maybe 4. So those are 2. And then there's a third one coming from Chroma. That one looks like it has about the same 3-4 months. But we're very excited about the Daxi and the Galderma product. Now there's one other one that's coming that's totally different. Those are all botulinum type A. And so there's one that's type E, and that one's called Bonti. And that's a quick onset, and then it goes away pretty quickly. And that one, that's going to be it's called, with the current name for that is Bonti. And so it's a Galderma product. And I'm sorry, it's an Allergan product. And what's great about it is because it's short acting and because it has a quick onset, Hollywood's going to love it, because this is something that you can do right before an award, but it will wear off by the time you have to go film. And so many of the actors, they want to let their faces rest a little bit after they've, just so they don't get the wrinkles, but they have to have full movement back for whatever their role is in either a series or a movie. So those are kind of what's happening. Long acting, fast onset, and then other ones, fast onset and short acting. So
that's why we're so thrilled to be with you here today. As I mentioned in the beginning, Dr. Ava knows about what's coming out, because all these big companies, these big pharmas like the Allergans of the world, who is behind Botox, for those who don't know, they ask her to do the clinical trials. So this is what's so exciting, is learning about what's coming. And it's amazing how wide open this field is. And how much there is to look forward to, and must be so fun for you, being always about finding something, a new discovery, being able to be part of it, and so creative as well for you. I mean, I always say derms are like the Michelangelos of the modern day.
Yes, we do it, but our artwork is walking around on the street, so we have to be careful. But it is exciting. I mean, we talked a little bit about body contouring and what's new there, and I think that what we've learned. I mean, going back to the body contouring, is we learned that you have to do muscle, fat, and skin. You have to really approach all three elements, and so we also are using the Quo, which is the treatment for cellulite, the injectable treatment. Right now, it has a side effect of a lot of bruising, and so the company is. So we asked about the muffin top. Yeah, the muffin top though, that's going to be approachable with. You can use a combination of the Quo. Of Kybella, so the injectable for fat, and then you're probably going to be able to do this ultimate contour device. But going back to Quo, so that's the treatment for cellulite. So that's an enzyme that dissolves collagen. And so it releases those bands that sort of run up and down and actually even are circular around those cellulite dimples. And so the problem is it has a lot of bruising. So the company's now starting some studies to look at how to mitigate the bruising. But yeah, it's all about, as you say, it's mix and match,
Are you putting the pause right now then on Quo until they work out the kinks?
No, I mean, people, especially we're going into summer now, so people really don't want the bruising. So we're not, I mean, we're just probably not going to do many people in the summer.
Yeah. So, okay, once you start covering up again, then you can do the Quo. Again, there's so much coming and it's, almost hard to keep up. It's like dizzying. But everyone here, we have lots to look forward to on the anti-aging front. Let's talk a little bit, because if you go into Dr. Ava's office, and she has the most amazing woman there, Skincare Shirley is her nickname. They have
before we go to skincare, I want to talk about what's new in the filler front. So what's new in the filler front is the RHA line, which stands for resilient hyaluronic acid. And so what's cool about this new filler, it's also in the hyaluronic acid category, but the structure of the hyaluronic acid is very similar to what's naturally in our skin. It's a 3-dimensional. It looks like kind of a loose ball of yarn. And so it has a very nice flexibility to it. Not only flexibility, but it also has good lift. And so it has right now the line, actually, it has 3, RHA 2, 3, and 4. And then there's the RHA 1, which is going to be called Redensity. That one is coming. That one's approved. And so they're about to roll that one out. So the product is FDA approved for treatment of lines and wrinkles on the face, but we just finished a trial for using the product in the lips, and we're currently doing one for the mid-face and one for the under eyes. So that's very exciting. So the RHA, I really like the RHA. That's become a real staple in what I do. There's also going to be 2 new products in the Juvederm line that are coming out. One is going to be jawline. So they have a chin indication already, but now they're going to do jawline. And we all know how important establishing that jawline is for beauty. And it also helps pick up the neck when you treat the jawline. And they also have, and Allergan, also in the Juvederm family, has a skin booster that's going to be released soon too. And both of those products have already gotten their FDA approval. And so they're just, getting their marketing situation ready. But that's very exciting. So skin boosters, injectable skin boosters, are something that's kind of, it's been done in Europe, not so much here. And the way that works is it turns out when you put hyaluronic acid more superficially, so really truly in the dermis, then it stimulates the cells, the fibroblasts that are there that make the collagen. It really stimulates them to make more collagen. So it's not going to take the place of SOFWAVE or the Morpheus, the the radio frequency microneedle. It's not going to take the place, but it's going to be a nice adjunct. And this is going to be something I think it's going to be very popular too with the Gen Zs and the millennials, because it's a really nice treatment for younger skin and, really kind of for everybody, but it's going to be right in there with your prejuvenation.
Is it going to be sort of how you work it with a Botox, perhaps like every 3 to 4 months, or how often will the boosters be needed?
Well, I don't think it's going to be that often. I would say that's going to be, once or twice a year. I mean, I think that's going to be, I think that there's so much data now coming out about low energy laser treatments and how that changes changes your genetic expression to a more youthful profile. I think there's going to be a lot of lasers that are used, but it's nice to have a whole bunch of different ways to improve the quality of the skin. And before we move to skincare, I want to just mention one other thing that I'm crazy about, which is the CO2 lift, the carboxy mask. Have you heard about that? Do you know about that? Did you have one put on you?
I haven't done it, but I heard about it at your office and they showed me the package of it, and I would love to learn more about it. It's something I want to do a story on as well. So please do share.
Yeah, this is amazing. So a lot of times, following a laser procedure, we will have, people are a little swollen. They may have micro channels, in their skin. And depending whether it's a Fraxel or whatever treatment we're doing. And so what's great is I like to think of this as a hyperbaric oxygen treatment for the skin, because what it does, it delivers carbon dioxide to the skin. It's this very soft gel mask that you mix up, put it on. And so what that does is it shifts the oxygen dissociation curve so that you actually get delivery of higher levels of oxygen, but deeper in the skin. It's not like an oxygen facial. And so it helps speed up healing. It helps if you're red, it reduces redness. It's amazing. So I'm a huge fan of this. And it also comes in a vaginal form for people who are nursing and they might have some dryness there, or who are menopausal, can't take HRT or don't want to take HRT. They have a vaginal rejuvenation mask as well. But the facial one we've used a lot, and it's just amazing.
So for someone who hasn't had a procedure done, is this mask okay just for radiance boosting?
Absolutely. So this is something that, because you're getting essentially more blood flow to the skin, you get this moist, dewy look that I just have never seen happen after 45 minutes. You just put it on for 45 minutes and it's amazing. It's just a glowy, luminous skin. It's like everything you want. So, this doesn't last forever. That's where the skincare comes in, but.
A once a week type of thing, or once every 2 weeks?
Yeah. So Katie wants to know what it's made of. It's made of, it's a kind of a gel, and then you have to mix the two packets together, and then it releases the CO2.
It's something that anyone can purchase, or is it only through a doctor's office?
I think anyone can. I think there's anyone can purchase it. Okay. It's a little different. I think what you have that's sold to the consumer, but it's still good.
Yeah. Sounds dreamy. Everything you're talking about today sounds dreamy.
It's such an exciting time. It's such an exciting time, really.
I know, to think about. You were probably doing which, by the way, is so important, and we'll get to it. But all right, so we've covered some incredible new technologies, fillers, and I wanted to mention too about filler that everyone be aware of. And it's so nice with RHA because, and I've even written about this, you see people with this filler face, which also goes back to going to the right practitioner. Dr. Ava is an artist. You go to someone like her for her eye. Not only is she working with the right materials, but you want to be working with someone who's injecting into your face, who really has an artist's eye. And working with materials such as RHA too, there's been this epidemic, I would say, of people. I see it in LA all the time, but really all over. Watch the Real Housewives of New Jersey and you'll see it, of these really overfilled faces, which is everything we want to avoid. And when you go to someone like Dr. Ava, you have the assurance that you are going to walk out of there looking like yourself.
Yes, you want to look like yourself, just a little better version. You do not want to look like like I like to say, like you're entering the witness protection program.
Exactly. All right, we could spend 2 more hours on these treatments, but let's talk. And like I mentioned, sorry for skipping ahead, Dr. Ava always has the best products and best brands in her office, pharmaceutical grade, everything. She's always knowing what's next, what's new in that space as well, and has people who work for her who know everything about these products as well. So I'd love to hear, and there's so many great ones there. What are some of your favorites right now? Skincare for rejuvenation, for anti-aging, etc.
So I really love the underskin line, the u.SK. And what I like about the line, they have a very gentle exfoliant that has a rice bran base, so it's safe for the environment, and it's gentle but effective on the skin. So that's one product. I mean, that's sort of an easy one to scrub. But it also has an outstanding retinol in the line. But this one has a blend of really botanical antioxidants that are very soothing, so you don't get as irritated. The other thing about this line is it has a lot of different types of boosters depending on specific needs of your skin. So there's boosters, they call them boosters. They're like a booster serum. So it would be a serum that you would add on for specific problem solution. So whether it's a skin brightening, whether you have skin redness, but our patients have been super happy with that line, the underskin. Shirley really likes that line. Yeah, shopping with Shirley. Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, that's Ava's person when you check out there who helps advise you on which skincare products, because there's so much there and all of it looks so amazing. And this line, underskin, everybody, again, we'll follow up and give you details, but it's u.SK, another brand that we're talking to about our review program as well. So yeah, these are all amazing lines. Anything that a doctor recommends, it's something to pay attention to in terms of.
We also like the DefenAge line. That's outstanding. That really has been shown to build elastin. We like that very much. And so there's like a really cool little eye applicator. I like that. And I like their whole line, their serum, this cream, they have, the night cream, the day cream. So, because it has a very high level of actives. And that's another thing that's really important to me as I go through the lines to choose what to put on my shelves. Then we have one, it's not really a doctor line, but let me go back to the growth factors. So the Skin Medica line has an outstanding, they've updated their TNS growth factor so that it doesn't have that like kind of locker room sock smell to it. And so that growth factor is outstanding. It has a high level in that one too. So it's a little bit, so I kind of mix and match depending on what the patient needs, but that's a good line.
Dr. Ava, should we hear about retinols, we hear about vitamin C, we hear about ceramides. Should we, if you're a person of a certain age or not, be incorporating a growth factor product into our skincare regimes? Is that something you recommend?
Yeah, so I like to really think about having something in the retinoid category as the cornerstone. You may not be able to use it 7 nights a week. It might be too drying or a little bit irritating, but that's really important because that does kind of everything, and there's receptors for it. So that being said, a lot of times with the retinoid, then maybe 3 times a week I'll use the growth factor, maybe not every night. I will use a hyaluronic serum with it. So either the HA5 in the Skin Medica line or the pressed HA serum from the Sente line. I think both of those are good. And then sometimes I just use the BioEffects, which is a really clean HA serum from Iceland. So, and then the rest of them, the antioxidants, I think C has the most data on it. I like the brands that have a more stabilized C. So I'm just thinking, because I put one of them in the membership box by Dr. Ava, and I'll have to get you the name of that one because that's actually my favorite now in the vitamin C category. I think it's very stable. You can see the effect, and you want to put an antioxidant on in the morning under your sunscreen.
Okay, so everybody, retinols, antioxidants, vitamin C, growth factors, and of course, hyaluronic acid, which we've talked about and written about many times. And we'll recap with you all about some of these brands that Dr. Ava has discussed today, because there are so many great ones. And it's so interesting. You mentioned DefenAge. I interview doctors all the time, and I have to say that is one product that doctors, that MDs consistently bring up, from plastic surgeons to derms, of a product that they believe in and that it is really showing results. So happy to hear you talking about it too. Let's talk a little bit about sun care. And then I know there's been a lot of questions, of course, because we have Dr. Ava here. And let's talk a bit about sun care. Most importantly, before I open it up to questions, we all know we have to wear sunscreen every day, especially those of us that are living in sunny areas like Southern California or anywhere else in this country for that matter. But it's a daily ritual. But when it's sunny out and we're going outdoors, a lot of people just slap it on, you know, oh, I put my sunscreen on. Or even if you're going to the beach and you're covering up further. But what are those areas that people are commonly overlooking or just simply forgetting or thinking, oh, I'm fine, I don't need to cover that spot up?
Well, first of all, the sunscreen, I mean, ideally you're going to, when you're in the bathroom, you come out of the shower or the bath or whatever, and if you're a nighttime bather, whatever, you rinsed off your face, you want to put that on then. You want to have a half hour to let it really soak in so that it can really do its job. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is you want to cover your face, neck, chest, anywhere that's going to be exposed. Then the third thing is you want to use an adequate amount, because all of the SPF numbers are designed for really, you know, not like a pea-sized amount. It's not a retin-A, more like a quarter, you know, size amount. And so for some people, using something that's a microfluid, so I really like the ISDIN product, because it has a DNA repair in it too, and you can get and it's micronized, so you don't have that white chalky look. And it comes also with a pigmented, so you can use it instead of a foundation. So ISDIN, and then I really like the La Roche-Posay. So they have these little microfluid bottles that, that's actually what I have on now. So I use, instead of makeup, I just use they have a tinted version of that. It's an SPF 60. So yeah, so if you're going out, and then, I mean, one of my roommate from college, she had a skin cancer right here, right in her ear, because she played tennis, she plays golf, she's, you know, bikes, everything. Not even lives here, lives in Boston. And she got a basal cell there because she didn't apply sunscreen to her ears. So, and then I was just back east visiting one of my kids, and I went out and I was like, I felt so uncomfortable because I didn't bring my SPF clothing. And so I went and I bought an SPF shirt. I don't know, where is it? It's not right here right now, but it's so cute. I love it. I mean, you know, sun protective clothing. I mean, I wear it when I swim. I'm a big swimmer. So that I can give you the line, and they have SPF clothing too. It's called Tutu Blue, TUTUBLU. So you can put that up. And it's like a full body rash guard. It's kind of sexy. Everybody likes it. I call it my ocean camo. But it's UPF 50, and I never get burned. I'm in Hawaii snorkeling out there for an hour, and it's amazing how effective it is. So yeah, so if you're sick of sunscreen, put on, you know, SPF clothing, but you're not going to wear it over your face. So you got to put it on your face, neck.
Another line I love, which I wear all the time, sun protection clothing, everyone, is called Coolibar, Coolibar. But I'm going to check out yours too, because Coolibar stuff is pretty cute. That's got style, but the one you're talking about sounds like it has some style to it as well. You know, for those of us, some of us wear hats outside, you know, hopefully they have some, you know, decent quality fabrication that we are protecting our scalp. But for those who aren't wearing hats, what should we be doing as far as SPF on our scalp? Because I assume skin cancers can show up there as well.
You want to run for shade. Yeah, they can. Yes. And I see in the older population, they get right in their part, they'll get skin cancers. Yeah, it's super common. Because note to everybody, your hair starts to thin as you get older too. So whatever, it's fine. There's a lot we can do. Let's just like bow down to Martha Stewart and Jane Fonda and all these, you know, people who are in their 80s who are killing it.
Mae Musk is on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swim.
There you go.
Yeah,
like I said, and she's in her 70s, right?
Yep, a 70-year-old Sports Illustrated cover girl.
Yeah, love. So yeah, you just got to put, it's an interesting question. Probably the spray. I don't know if I've seen, have you seen one that's specifically for scalp? I mean, usually I just recommend people use a spray one. You have a scalp one?
I have seen some. I'm not using one now, but I usually just take my spray sunscreens and pop a little bit up there. One that doesn't, that not the mineral ones, everybody like a zinc that's going to be white, but one of the more chemical ones, I spray some on. But I'm always wearing a hat, and I actually wear the Coolabar hats that have that sun protection fabric. That's what you want to look for. So I don't tend to do a lot on my scalp just because I'm constantly hat, even in the water, whether I'm in pool or ocean. But for those who are going out there without the hat, I think that's a great idea, Dr. Ava. Yeah, just take your sunscreen and spray it in there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Natalie says powder sunscreens. Yeah, there are powder sunscreens that are out there. Oh my goodness, I have one.
The Color Science.
Color Science, Color Science. Yeah, but it's a little, powdery in your scalp, but
better than nothing though, right?
Better than nothing. Yeah, if you're really stuck, what do you care? Let's see. Let me think about it. A little powder in your hair or skin cancer.
Yeah.
Powder, skin cancer.
Better safe than sorry. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Ava. Again, we could be going on for 2 more hours here with you, but I want to open it up for questions. As we've seen, there are a lot of questions. And of course, thank you everybody for your wonderful questions. Johnny, do you want to take it from here with some Q&A for Dr. Ava before we have to say goodbye to her? Because I'm sure there's somebody waiting next door to get the Softwave or one of those fabulous treatments that you're offering there.
Of course, our experts love connecting with those like you, Dr. Ava, and they like asking questions. So I have a question in the chat function. Earlier, we were speaking about the different uses of radio waves and such. Is there any particular type of person who maybe can't do that due to medical concern, like a pacemaker or other needs with this unique technology? Any tips or thoughts into that?
Yes, if you have a pacemaker, you cannot use any of these technologies. It will interfere with your pacemaker. So try to think. You might be able to use the ultrasound one, but I'll talk to Elycia and get a firm answer, but you can't use the radiofrequency based microneedling. You can have laser's okay, but not the radiofrequency, because that runs current through your body, and that's exactly what would interfere with a pacemaker. And the big magnet too, that's used for the muscle tightening, the sculpt, that's not going to work either, because that could interfere with it.
Thank you. Important, and thank you to Elycia for just hitting that. We need to go to experts like the doctor here to understand. This leads into our next question from Katie, and we touched a little bit on microneedling, but this question is more general to the practice and the skin field. For microneedling, should we trust very specific people, or who do we trust to go get the proper microneedling procedures for face, body, hair, and everything? Could we go to estheticians, or should we keep that to those very specialized dermatologists and medical grade estheticians? Any thoughts on that?
So there's a more superficial form of microneedling. They're calling it microchanneling. So it's using a device where the entry to the skin is much more superficial. So it's not really going to the dermis. It's just going to the very top layers of the epidermis. And so I think that's fine. The estheticians are doing that. And so I think that's fine for an esthetician to do. The deeper, in the state of California, the only people that can do microneedling are registered nurses and people with more training, such as physician's assistants, nurse practitioners, and of course, physicians. So microneedling, because it is more invasive and those needles can go deeper, that has to be done with someone with a more advanced degree, but who has also been trained in the procedure.
Thank you. And experts, we've done some Education 101s on microneedling, knowing, as you said, doctor, that more superficial, ones that we see on the market, ones we see in stores now, but then there's a next level, especially for those deeper needs too. So thank you for clarifying that. And I think possibly our last question, because you guys did pretty good at answering a lot of the questions in today's event. The question I have is more general with sunscreen hitting on summertime. So I have some questions and concerns for powdered sunscreens, if you love them or hate them, and if talc is important to you as a derm. I'd also like to hear a little bit of, with sunscreen, what you as a derm favorite sunscreen, what do you look for in a sunscreen? I think is a good question to hit on here.
Okay, so I'll start with the talc question. So talc that's a no-no because you can certainly inhale it, and that's not going to be good for your lungs. We know that it looks like it is a carcinogen, so really don't want to have any kind of small particles in your lungs. So no talc. Looking at what my favorite sunscreens are. So for me, I like for my face, I like the microfluid because it floats on really nicely, and I like using a tinted one. So I use either the Eryfotona, 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 which is the ISDIN product, or I'll use the La Roche-Posay Anthelios product. And so those are my two go-to for the face, neck, and chest. And then for body, as I said, most of the time I'm in sun protective clothing, I'm very groovy there with my full body, whatever. But I'll also use either there's an Elta MD body one or one of the sprays. Even the Neutrogena, but I also like the Anthelios. Anthelios has an SPF 100 and it's fantastic because I'm in the mountains a lot.
Beautiful. We'll make sure we get some notes and get it out to the experts and make sure that they have your platforms, as I'm sure Elycia will hit on in a second, so that they can throw you a few questions here on IG or here or there. I think I'll finish off with this last question because today we talked about amazing procedures for fat loss, texture, and we hit on a few products for color of skin. But I have a question from Sadea. What are your top products and treatments specifically for skin discoloration, and maybe even some special ones for women of deep color or deeper scar color? I think is a perfect question to finish off today's Q&A.
You're throwing the ringer at me. So when you say you're talking about like melasma or hyperpigmentation in any skin type and also in skin of color, is that your question?
That is a good way to put it. Yes, I think we can go a million routes, but let's talk specifically about that type of discoloration.
Okay, so it's actually a very large topic, but I'll just hit on it kind of briefly. So we know now that hydroquinone, the over-the-counter form, is taken off the market. And so all the companies are now scrambling to look for a different mechanism in order to interfere with hyperpigmentation. So in the office, we have to be extremely careful with it because if you injure the skin too much, you can create more hyperpigmentation. So we don't really laser so much, but you can do microneedling actually, and then put a bleach right on top of it. And we're using transaminic acid. At home, we're using a product that's called Cispera, which is cysteamine. It's a form of an amino acid. You can look that up. That's a short contact product. And then we have a formulation we can sell a prescription hydroquinone with a retin-A, but the companies are all coming up with, there's some other molecules that interfere with the pigment formation process and also with the pigment delivery to the skin. And so that's a great hope, both for people of any skin color, whether it's darker, whether you're dark, medium, light, whatever. And so it's very exciting. There's going to be some new skin creams and also technology.
Beautiful. Thank you for all those answers and experts. Sorry if we missed a question, but I think we got amazing things out today. I'm going to hand it back to you, Elycia, to get our experts finished off. We've quenched their thirst on knowledge and got them ready for summer. And I'm sure they want to look into these new procedures and read some amazing articles on it. Take it away, Elycia.
Thank you, Johnny, and thank you everybody for joining us today, for your thought-provoking questions. Thank you, Dr. Ava, so much. As you can see, we could spend the whole day with you, do a whole forum with Dr. Ava. So lots more to come. And again, Dr. Ava, thank you so much. I want to let everyone know Dr. Ava can be found at Dr. Ava Says at Instagram. So that's at DRAVASAYS. All of her clinics, both medical and more lunchtime, are in the Los Angeles area, as mentioned, Pacific Palisades, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, and Century City. Please follow her on Instagram, watch her on The Gist. She has a lot more coming out, more TV projects coming our way. So again, thank you, everybody. Dr. Ava, very grateful to you today. And always.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I feel like I've been in like the most fun club of the city with you. So thanks to everyone. Thank you for all your comments and questions. And I look forward to hearing from you.